Hi guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Brent. We've got Chris behind the camera, and we are Artistic PC. I'm a fabricator by nature. Been fabricating custom car stereo most of my career. I've done some custom command vehicles, surveillance vehicles for police and government. Built some skateboards, some action combs, so I'm pretty fluid in fabrication. Also wiring. I've done a lot of wiring, wired some really crazy vehicles. And so we're thinking that we could probably build a pretty cool gaming PC. There's a lot of people out there who build these gaming PCs, but we're gonna try to be different in our cleanliness, wiring, attention to detail, everything super clean. As far as our computer skills, we've picked most of those up from the internet. Watched a lot of Jay's 2 Cents channel. He's pretty much got educated us on the water loop and all that good stuff. And as far as tools go, well, we took no shortcuts there. We have a 24 by 36 inch full spectrum laser, so we can cut out acrylic to make custom acrylic panels. We've got a 28-inch wide plotter, so we can do some stenciling work. We got a table saw, we got a chop saw, we got a brake, we got a drill press, so we have the tools to build an amazing PC. This is our first video. This is our first computer build. This is going to be our first edit, so please be gentle. So if all goes well, we're hoping that we can make this exact system available for sale. So let's get to the equipment. Obviously this is not a sponsored build because nobody knows who we are. But starting over here, we are running the Thermaltake P5 open case. We like this case because you'll really be able to see all the detail we're going to put into this thing. As far as motherboard goes, we're doing the Rogue Maximus, the new Formula motherboard. We're doing the i9 9900K. Then we are running the dual GeForce RTX 2080 Ti's, only because that's all was available. We'll probably run the ROG cards in our main build going forward. As far as cooling blocks, we've using the AlphaCool for the GPU and CPU. We're going with the 480 Rad. We're doing the Singularity reservoir and pump setup, and we are doing the Thermaltake 1250 watt power supply with plenty of RGB. And we are going to try our luck with this. Never done that either. Be the first for that, so we'll see how that goes. But next, we're going to get all the stuff out of the boxes onto our test bench just to make sure everything's working, because we don't want to run into the trouble later down the road when something's not and we've got water running, and you know how that can go. So we'll get there and we'll be right back. Hi guys, we realized that we forgot a couple key elements of this build. First thing being our hard drive. So we're running the Samsung 970s M.2 at 2 terabytes, and we are using the Trident Z G.Skill, total of 32 gigs at DDR4 at 3600 megahertz. And that's it. So we'll see you on the bench. Thanks. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our setup set up on our Praxis wet bench, which at the moment it's a dry bench. So we're currently doing a temporary cool with the Noctua cooler. We've got our GPUs, graphic cards, obviously air cooled. And so we decided that, you know, since it's working, let's load some software and maybe do a little tweaking and a little overclocking, a slight overclock to 5 gigahertz. and see if we can't put up a score. So we did, and we didn't do so bad. Actually, we posted a score of a 24,370 running Time Spy, which actually put us at 20th, which is not too bad for the first time. I'm sure it'll get crushed by the time this video comes out, but hey, today we're at 20. So our next step is we're going to go ahead and break this thing down. We're going to mock it up in our case to kind of get an idea of how we're going to run the water and where things are going to go and how we're going to customize it and make it cool. So we'll get that done. We'll be right back at you. Hi guys, before we get mocked up, we're going to need to put the water block on, so that's what we're going to do. Well, it looks like our water block doesn't support NVLink. Yep, when we bought these water blocks, the graphic cards weren't even available yet. So we found these ones, we really liked them. And unfortunately, there's not one out there that we like better that supports NVLink. So I think we are going to attempt to modify this one. Doesn't seem like it'd be too much of a big deal. Just got to remove this little sheet here, and we should be in business. So let's get to modding. Alright guys, so we got our tab cut off. It looks pretty good, so that should work just fine. So we're going to go ahead and do our thermal pads and paste. Alright, so we got our water block installed. Went fairly smoothly, but we did run into another issue. The NVLink doesn't fit. But I'm thinking, taking this apart, that if we take the cover, pew, 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 the hideous cover, and get rid of it, I think this will work. So with the cover removed, it fits in there real nicely. I didn't like that cover anyways, so it actually worked out for the better. Another thing I noticed is that this light here is actually RGB. It's got a 4-wire RGB pin, so header there. So we might be able to actually sync that up with the Aura and maybe put a logo here. We'll give that a shot and test that and make sure that works. But other than that, I think we're finally ready to actually mock this thing up. So we'll get that done. We'll be right back at you. All right, so we got all our stuff here laid out and mocked up, and what our plan is here is to first of all fix this case. As you can see, all the places where the cables go into the case are all like off center, left or right, and for me, I really dislike that look of wires going to the side. I like all my wires to go straight down. So the way we're going to get that done is we're going to cut a piece of acrylic or polycarbonate the same size as the bottom of this case. And what we'll do is we will cut individual holes for all the wires to go straight down. And then we'll use a metal punch to punch the sheet metal so we can get the wires through that. And what we'll also probably end up doing here is raising the motherboard a bit so we can run the wires directly underneath the motherboard, so all the wires will be going the same direction, looking very uniform. Tricks are going to be is what to do with these RGB wires. So we'll have to find a cool way of rerouting those through this bottom plate perhaps. I'm not sure quite yet. We'll probably end up punching a hole right in this area probably, and maybe backlighting our logo. And as far as this NVLink, thinking about maybe bending a piece of acrylic that covers that, and maybe putting a logo there and backlighting that with the RGB. We're going to do some crazy hardline. So we'll have to figure out how exactly we're going to do that, but making everything nice and straight and level and exactly the same distance apart. That's what's going to set us apart, is making sure all our stuff is square, every wire is clean, and possibly make a custom RGB ring underneath the rad. So that should be fun. And another thing we've noticed is we have this RGB fan inside the power supply, which is obviously controlled through the power supply through a USB cable. And on this build, we really want all the RGB to be controlled by Aura. So what we're probably going to have to do is bust into this power supply and grab the RGB wires directly from the fan and wire those through this case, maybe come out underneath it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So this should be a fun build. It's gonna be a lot of work, but I think it'll pay off in the end. So our next video will be us getting into it and cutting stuff up. So if you like the video, give us one of these. If we think we suck, give us one of those. And of course, please subscribe. Take care.